Hello everyone and welcome to this podcast on nutrition and hydration. This is the list of topics that we will be covering today. Firstly is what actually is nutrition? What does that term mean and include? Moving on to having a more in-depth look at calories, what calories are and some of the misconceptions. Then looking into macronutrients, which are carbohydrates, fats and proteins. Micronutrients, which are vitamins and minerals, a more detailed look at cholesterol and how having high cholesterol can affect us, the food guidelines, understanding food labels, and finally a range of information around hydration and its importance. So the first main topic we are going to look at is what is nutrition? So what does that term actually include and mean? In the dictionary, nutrition is defined as a process of providing or obtaining the food necessary for health and growth. There are a few different definitions of nutrition depending on where you look, but essentially it's centered around the food that we ingest and the benefits that we get from it. We can split nutrition into two different subcategories almost in terms of what the body needs to stay healthy and function, and these are macronutrients, which are carbohydrates, fats and proteins, and micronutrients, which are vitamins and minerals, and we'll be looking further into both of these to understand the difference. Moving on to calories, and this is a really big topic and is generally misunderstood. Calories are a unit of measurement for energy, and we all need a different number of calories per day to perform our basic bodily functions. It's recommended that men consume around 2,500 calories per day and 2,000 for women. However, this is just a guideline, and there are many different calculators available online that can be used if you're wanting to specifically work out the basic number of calories your body needs based on your height, weight, age, and activity levels. There are a lot of misconceptions around calories and their direct relationship with weight gain. Essentially, if you're looking to maintain your current weight, you could be eating and drinking the same number of calories as you're using to maintain a balance. If you're looking to gain weight, you need to be consuming more calories than your body is burning because you want it to start storing those extra calories or that extra energy which you haven't used as body fat. And finally, if you're looking to lose weight, you should be consuming less calories than you're using daily so that the body starts to turn to those fat stores for energy instead. It's important to eat clean foods, and if you're looking to build muscle, it's important to be consuming a high amount of protein per day and lower fat content so that the body uses that protein for muscle growth rather than fat storage. With any relationship with food, it's really important to ensure it stays healthy, whatever your goal is, because it can sometimes cause people to become obsessive and show unhealthy behaviors. Places that we get calories from also plays a huge role with how they are used within the body. So maintaining a clean and healthy diet is essential, and we're going to move on to breaking down what our food is made up of next. We are going to start with macronutrients, and the term macronutrient refers to the group that we need in higher amounts, these being carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Carbohydrates are the body's main source of energy or fuel. This is what the body will turn to first, and we get 4 calories or 4 of those energy units per 1 gram of carbohydrate that we ingest. Along with energy, carbs are used to help control metabolism of blood glucose and insulin. They help fat oxidation, which is the process of breaking down fats into smaller molecules like fatty acids and glycerol, which can then be used as an energy source. And they help with the metabolism of cholesterol, which we're going to look at in the further slides. There are 3 types of carbs, and these are sugars, starches, and fiber. And when eating carbs, it's better to try and choose the whole grain or wholemeal options, so things like brown bread, brown pasta, and rice, as they contain more fiber and this helps with digestion. Next are fats, and we get 9 calories or 9 units of energy per 1 gram of fat. And there are 2 main groups. These are saturated fats and unsaturated fats. Saturated fats, they can be found in both sweet and savory foods. The most common sources are meat, dairy, and plant foods such as coconut and palm oils. Eating too much of this type of fat increases the cholesterol levels within the body, and this is something that can go on to causing more health problems. Fats have many functions within the body, and this is why they're so important. They are used for the protection of vital organs. They are the body's primary source of fuel at low levels of intensity. For example, when you're walking. They are also needed to aid the absorption of vitamins A, D, E, and K because they are fat soluble, which means they can be absorbed by fats and oils and then stored within the body. The government recommends 30 grams of saturated fat per day for men and 20 grams for women. Children should have significantly less, but this will also depend on your weight and fitness goals. Then we have unsaturated fats, and these are commonly called healthy fats. The most common sources for this type of fat are in oily fish and plants, and swapping out unhealthier saturated fat sources for healthier unsaturated sources can help to reduce cholesterol in the body. Unsaturated fat also comes in two different forms. The first are called monounsaturated, which help to protect the heart by maintaining good cholesterol and reducing the bad cholesterol in the blood. This form is found in olive oil, rapeseed oil, avocados, and nuts like almonds or peanuts. The second form are called polyunsaturated fats, and these help lower bad cholesterol in the blood. And the main types are omega-3, found in oily fish, and omega-6, which is found in certain vegetables and nuts. Finally, we have protein, and we get the same amount of calories from protein as we do from carbohydrates, which is 4 calories per 1 gram. Protein is made up of chains of amino acids, which are essential chemical building blocks that are used to build and repair muscles and bones, make hormones and enzymes, and in severe cases of starvation, they can be used for energy, and this is known as muscle wasting. In the body, there are thousands of different proteins which all have different functions, and we digest protein from foods such as pulses, nuts, seeds, plant-based proteins like soya mince, tofu, corn, meat sources like fish, poultry, and dairy products like milk, yogurt, and cheese. When talking about amino acids that make up protein, there are ones that are non-essential, and this means that the body can produce them on its own if it's not getting them through food sources. And there are also 9 essential amino acids, which means the body can't naturally produce them if it's not being consumed through food or drink. If a protein source contains all of these 9 essential amino acids, it's classed as a complete protein. Incomplete protein sources are those that are missing one or more of those 9 essential amino acids, and this means a combination of different protein sources is needed to make up a complete set. Moving on to micronutrients, and this term refers to groups that are needed in much smaller amounts called vitamins and minerals. Micronutrients are generally measured using 3 different units: milligrams, micrograms, or international units, and you could see any of these on the back of food or drink packaging. Vitamins play so many different roles within the body, and each one performs a different function and serves a different purpose. For example, vitamin A, which is also known as retinol, aids in immune system function, helps with improving vision at low levels of light, and keeps skin and the lining of some body parts, such as the nose, healthy. You find vitamin A in foods like cheese, oily fish, milk, yogurt, and other sources. Another example is vitamin B, and there are different types of vitamin B that perform individual functions, such as vitamin B1, also called thiamine, keeps the nervous system healthy and aids in breaking down food to release energy. B2 is called riboflavin and helps keep the skin, eyes, and nervous system healthy. B6 is called pyridoxine and helps the body to use and store energy from proteins and carbs found in food. It also helps to form hemoglobin, which is vital for the transportation of oxygen around the body. And B12 is key in making red blood cells. It's common that people who eat a vegan diet can become deficient in vitamin B12 because the main sources are from animal products, so supplements may be needed. These are just a couple of examples of the functions vitamins and minerals perform, so it's really important to make sure you consume enough each day. Moving on to cholesterol, what it is and how having high cholesterol can affect the body. Cholesterol is a fatty substance that is found in the blood and produced by the liver. It's used by the cells in the body to keep them healthy. To transport the cholesterol around the body, proteins are used, and when these two substances combine, they're called lipoproteins. Lipoproteins come in two different forms. High density lipoproteins, or HDL, are known as the good cholesterol, and non-high density lipoproteins, or non-HDL, are known as the bad cholesterol. HDL, the good cholesterol, helps to remove the bad cholesterol from the body by taking it and transporting it back to the liver to be broken down and then removed. If too much of the non-HDL, the bad cholesterol, builds up, this is when high cholesterol is experienced. And usually this is caused by eating fatty foods, a lack of exercise, being overweight, alcohol consumption, smoking, and it can sometimes run in families. Having high cholesterol can cause health problems such as clogging blood vessels, and this increases the chances of having heart attacks and strokes. Generally, there aren't any symptoms of high cholesterol until you have a blood test and get the results. The positive side is that it's possible to lower cholesterol levels back to a healthy point. To help reduce the levels, there are simple lifestyle changes you can make, such as having a healthy diet, taking part in regular exercise, or in serious cases, medication can be given to try and bring the levels back down. Next is some information on diet guidelines and the Eat Well guidance. The Eat Well Guide was previously named the Eat Well Plate and is a policy tool which is used by the government to define what they class as eating healthily and achieving a balanced diet. And the government diet guidelines show the recommended daily amount of energy, macronutrients, salt, dietary fiber, vitamins, and minerals for different age groups and genders. The basis of the Eat Well guide are that at least 5 portions of a variety of fruit and veg should be eaten every day. Meals should have a base of either potatoes, bread, rice, pasta, or another starchy carbohydrate, and where possible, the whole grain option should be used, including some dairy or dairy alternatives like soya milk, and opting for lower fat and sugar versions. Eating some beans, pulses, fish, eggs, meat, and other proteins, which should include 2 portions of fish per week, one of these being an oily fish. Choose unsaturated oils and spreads and only eat them in small amounts, and drinking 6 to 8 glasses of fluid per day. Following these basic steps is a really good starting point for leading a healthier lifestyle and maintaining a balanced diet. Moving on to another big topic, and this is food labels and how to understand them. Nutritional labeling can be found on both the front and the back of packaging. However, it's not a legal requirement for companies to put nutritional information on the front of packaging. This is voluntary and usually represented using a traffic light system of green, amber, and red. Green colouring shows that it's a healthier choice. It's low in whatever nutrient that value is representing, for example, saturated fats, and it's better to find foods that have as many green ingredients as you can. The amber colour shows that the item isn't low or high in that nutrient. It's an okay choice to have if the label is mostly amber. And finally, the red colouring means that the food is high in that nutrient, most commonly fat, saturated fat, salt, or sugar. And these are the foods that should be limited. Being aware of the amount of red labelling on packaging is a good indicator at a glance of what to steer away from. All allergens that are in an item must be listed and emphasized in the ingredients, and most commonly, companies will list these ingredients in bold text. Aside from the information on the slide that has to be displayed by law, companies can list additional information voluntarily, such as fiber, starch, mono and polyunsaturated fats, sweeteners, vitamins, and minerals. You may also see the letters RI on packaging, which stands for reference intake, and these are values that have been given by European law and are based on an average sized woman doing an averaged amount of activity. Percentage RI on a label shows how much of an average adult's daily intake limit there is of each nutrient per portion. There are also many nutritional claims that companies can make, such as sugar-free or low fat. For a product to be sugar-free, it has to contain less than 0.5 grams of sugar per 100 grams. Low-fat products have to contain 30% less fat than a similar product. High-fiber products have to have at least 6 grams of fiber per 100 grams. And to be a source of vitamin D, it needs to have at least 15% of the reference intake for vitamin D per 100 grams. Next is how diet links with mental health and the effects it can have. There have been many studies around the link between diet and mental health and well-being. The Mental Health Foundation say that eating regularly stops blood sugar levels from dropping, and this helps to prevent you from feeling irritable and tired. Eating a good balance of fats is really important for the brain, as it needs healthy fats to function well. Eating too many trans fats can be banned for mood and also gut health. Whole grains, fruit, and vegetables contain vital vitamins and minerals which are needed for brain function, and the amino acids that make up protein are needed by the brain to help with mood regulation. They also found that the gut can reflect how you're feeling. For example, it can speed up or slow down during times of high stress, causing other health issues. It's also important to consider the effect caffeine may be having on your body, as it is a stimulant and it can cause things like depression and anxiety to increase. It can affect your sleep, which then goes on to affect your mood the following day, and it can also cause you to have withdrawal symptoms such as feeling irritable and depressed. These are some tips that might be useful to help make it as easy as possible to improve diet and health choices. The first tip is to meal prep, and this can make a huge difference because it takes the uncertainty of what to eat out of the equation. If you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner prepped for a few days or even the entire week, it can be cost effective. You're less likely to snack between meals and less likely to opt for unhealthy alternatives because you have freshly cooked meals ready to eat. Pick meals that are easy to cook but nutritious. Cooking healthy doesn't mean it needs to take hours each day. It can be really simple as long as you've picked ingredients that are nutritious. And this ties in nicely with the next one, which is to bulk up your meals with high volumes of veg. Avoid temptation by not buying things that you're trying to cut out or cut down on. If they aren't there, you can't eat them. Use a smaller plate so you're less likely to overeat, and it can trick your mind into believing you're eating more because the plate looks fuller. And finally, tracking your food intake. Tracking food can be really helpful if you're following a meal plan or you have a specific nutritional goal in mind that you want to reach. However, you should only do this if it doesn't become an unhealthy habit for you. Moving on to hydration, and this section will cover the basics of hydration, information about dehydration, different factors that can affect levels of hydration in the body, and finishing with tips for staying hydrated. So, the definition of hydration in the dictionary is the process of causing something to absorb water, and this is exactly what happens within the body. Water is absorbed and used by so many different parts for so many different functions, and this is why we can't live without it. The NHS recommend to drink 6 to 8 glasses of water per day, or the equivalent of 2 litres. This should increase if it's hot outside, you're participating in exercise, if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, or you're currently unwell or recovering from illness. It's better to try and drink water consistently throughout the day, so little and often, rather than drinking large amounts all at once. Water is used in almost every cell in the body, and some functions that water is used for are to regulate body temperature. For example, when the body sweats, it's trying to cool the body down. It lubricates the joints, it gets rid of waste products from the body through urine. It's key to avoiding dehydration. It keeps body tissues moist in the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. It carries nutrients and oxygen to the cells, and it helps to dissolve some minerals and nutrients so that the body can use them effectively. Next, we are going to look at dehydration, some facts around it, and also the signs and symptoms to look out for. Severe dehydration can be a medical emergency and can cause hospitalization if it's not attended to quickly. Dehydration means that the body is losing more fluid than it's taking in, and when this happens, it upsets the body's balance of minerals, so salts and sugars, which goes on to affect how the body functions. Being dehydrated can lead to other problems such as heat exhaustion, and when the body is at the stage of chronic dehydration, the function of the kidneys starts to become affected, and this puts us at a higher risk of getting kidney stones. There are different levels of severity with dehydration, and these are mild, moderate, and severe. Once we get to the point of it becoming severe, it requires immediate emergency treatment through things like a drip to replace the substantial loss of fluids. Some symptoms of severe dehydration are feeling confused, dizziness, not urinating all day, weak or rapid pulse, low levels of consciousness, and some people can experience fits or seizures. It's important that if you think you're experiencing these symptoms, to seek medical attention as soon as you can. Aside from just not drinking enough fluid, there are other factors that can impact on hydration levels. Age is a big factor in hydration. The body needs different amounts of water at different life stages. For example, babies who are being breastfed don't need any water as they get all of their fluid from the breast milk. Formula-fed babies may need some extra water in warm weather. And elderly people need to ensure they are drinking enough fluid because as we age, our sense of thirst can deteriorate. So you don't get the same want to drink, making it really important to ensure anyone elderly is drinking little and often. Health conditions can play a role in hydration. For example, if you're unwell and vomiting, a lot of fluid is lost and needs to be replaced. Alcohol is a diuretic, meaning if it's consumed in high amounts without water, it can cause dehydration. Exercise can cause the body to regulate its temperature through sweating, and as a result, it loses water, which needs to be replaced. If you live in warmer climates or if it's hot outside, water is essential in avoiding heat stroke. And some medications can increase urination, and so the body loses more water than it normally would. There are so many different tips around increasing water intake, and they're so easy to integrate into your daily routine once you've made it a habit. The first tip is using cordials. If you don't like the taste of plain water, this can really help, but you must stay aware of the amount of sugar that is found in these options. Or you can add fresh fruit, lemon or cucumber. If you prefer to have hot drinks, then having flavoured teas, normal tea or green tea, or fruit teas can be a good option, particularly non-caffeinated ones, as these won't affect your quality of sleep. Always carrying a water bottle and having it with you is a constant reminder to drink throughout the day. It gives you easy access, you don't have to worry about it, so investing in a reusable water bottle is a great idea. There are several different apps you can use that will send you reminder notifications to remind you to drink at regular intervals through the day. One is called Water Reminder, which you can sync to smartwatches and have as a widget on your phone screen to view your progress easily. Having water with every meal is an easy habit to get into, and always having a glass of water before you eat can make you feel fuller quicker, and this helps to prevent overeating. Eating your water sounds like a funny idea, but especially in the winter time, making fresh soups is great because they have a high water content, and in the warmer months, using things like ice lollies are an easy way to get more water in. So that brings us to the end of this podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you found it informative, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.